Are you ready for kids to go back to school? Let's talk about how you can actually make this year different. No more talk, just simple strategies that actually work. Inside this episode, we're talking about if you said, I'll make this change, whatever it might be, once the kids are back in school. Yep, we've all done it. So what are you doing this year so that this time next year, you're not in the same place? No guilt, no judgment, no shame, just simple strategies that will work. This is the Your Money, Your Life podcast where ambitious women come together to have clarity, prosperity, and confidence with their money without sacrificing precious time and well-deserved fun. So let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Money, Your Life podcast. We're talking about being back to school ready, and will this year be any different? Let's get into it, okay? So the first thing that we need to know is we need to identify what you want to change. Are you making changes in your finances? Are you making changes when it comes to productivity? Are you making changes when it comes to your health or something else? That's the first step. What do you want to change? The second step. There we go. I can talk. Ask yourself, how can I do this now? This works with any circumstance. If there's inflation, etc., we have to ask ourselves the right question. How is this possible? If you're saying it's not possible, then you're not even looking for the possibility. We need to reframe that. How can this be possible now? Your brain will start trying to solve the problem because you ask the question in a way that feels there's a possibility out there. So then when you come up with that possibility, if you're really struggling with this, pro tip real quick, if you're struggling with coming up with the possibility, this is what you need to meditate on before you go to bed. And by meditate, even just thinking about it, okay, how can I make this happen? How can I make this a reality for us? And really honestly, asking myself, how can we actually make this happen, is why I have been able to change so much for ourselves in it's been about a year now, with the changes that I needed to make the things, the priorities that I wanted to do. If I hadn't have asked myself, how can I actually make this happen? I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if we would be able to do the things, if we had built the relationships, if we had grown to the place and being able to work with as many amazing clients as I do, and still having that quality time that I wanted to have in those other areas, not having to sacrifice either of those, finding the way for it to work, because I asked myself, how can it work? But back to that, your pro step. If you're struggling with that, just think about that before you go to sleep at night. Then your subconscious mind will go to work on it for you throughout the night. Will likely wake up with a solution in the morning. So once you have that solution, once you have that possibility, I want you to take one small step forward. That's step number 3. Take one small step forward. We have to actually get into action. There is only so much planning, so much okay, it can look like this, it can do this. We have to get into momentum. Even with the changes that we've made, I just recently made a new change because I realized, yes, it was working, but the system could be improved. There's things that could do better. So you make pivots, you make changes as you go. You're not stuck in this rut once you make the one small step forward. It's one small step. Step number 4 is have an accountability group or a coach. It is so much harder to try and make this change happen by yourself. Even going to the gym. We've talked about New Year's resolutions before. And people say I'm going to get fit. I'm going to do this. And sometimes they have an accountability group, you're going to the gym together or having all the people there at the gym together. And it's not enough. Having somebody that helps hold your feet to the fire isn't even like the right analogy, but somebody that helps you do the things that we know that we need to do, even when we don't feel like doing them. It's important. The fifth step is stop aiming for perfection. Like, please, it's not about getting everything right. It's about the one next thing. What's the one next thing you need to do? Which is why step number 3 was take one small step forward. Okay. Number 5 was stop aiming for perfection. You're never going to get it all right. It's never going to be perfect. Perfect is an illusion. And if you're aiming for perfection, it kind of ends up being an excuse. I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to tell you like it is, because I don't want you to be in the same spot next year. Number 6, we need to understand human nature. There are 2 times that people quit. The first one is after we get a victory. So we celebrate like, woohoo, we did it. We're awesome. We've got this. And then you deserve a celebration, right? And then we'll end up get lazy, for lack of a better word. Like we hit the goal and we fall off. And then we don't stay consistent. There also can be not celebrating your victories and you just keep pushing on to the next thing, but that's a different problem. The second reason or second time that people quit is we experience a setback, a defeat, and we get frustrated. I thought I would be farther along by now. I thought this would be different. I thought this would happen. I really thought this was it. This was the process. This was the strategy. This is what I was missing. It was finally all going to work out. I thought I had everything in place and it just didn't happen. And we end up quitting. So if you want to truly make this year different, we have to identify what is making you stop. Why are we stopping doing what we know we need to? And last week, we talked about your budget and why we don't budget consistently, even though that we know that we need to, right? So what's making you stop? Once you identify that, we have to let it go. Fear of failure, fear of perfection, fear of success even, which, when I first heard about the fear of success, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is what I'm working towards. I'm not afraid of success. Fear of success is a real thing. And a lot of people are actually more afraid of success than they are of failure. Now, I've worked through the exercises and I'm still pretty certain that I'm more afraid of failure than I am of success at root causes. But being afraid of success is a real thing. And we do self-sabotage. So let's make this the year that you actually make the change. Things actually change. So quickly recap. The first thing we're going to do, you're going to identify what you want to change. The second thing was you're going to ask yourself, how can I do this now, regardless of the circumstances that are going on? The third step, you're going to take one small step forward. The fourth step, have an accountability group or a coach to support you. The fifth was we're not going to aim for perfection because it's not about getting it right. It's about working on the one next thing. And number 6, we understand human nature and we're aware of the 2 times that people quit. That's after a victory and after a defeat. So we're watching out for those so that we don't quit. Because this is the year that you can actually make things different. You probably know I'm about to go on maternity leave. Of course, there's still going to be weekly updates. They're all ready to go. I'm with you. Come hang out with me on Instagram if you want to see baby pictures, all the things. But if you're ready to make that change now, make sure to grab a breakthrough intensive session. We'll work together 90 minutes, help you to actually move forward so that you're not stuck. You're not just saying, this is the year that I'm going to make a difference. You're actually taking action, like we're talking about here, on how you can move forward successfully. Check out the link in the show notes if that is you, because I know you can actually make this year different. your challenge on Instagram. Send me a message. Let me know, what are you working on changing this year? That was step number 1. So we're going to handle it together. I can't wait to hear what you are going to make different for this year, because it's not too late. It is possible. You can do it. And we'll see you next week for another episode of the Your Money, Your Life podcast. Bye for now.